Hello again. So I guess this is the third installment of my WLtoys K969 setup. Trying to get this thing to drift slowly in a small area of my apartment. It seems to be designed for much higher speed in much larger areas. So I'm not sure if I'm ever going to pull it off, but we can try. Um, so I was thinking, to check the weight balance. I did a review on this Sky RC weight system. It's pretty cool. But let's see how this thing is set up here for the weight. So it's really messed up. This corner is 1851, 1465. Let me just make sure there's no stiction here. I went and added some foam tape here to jam the battery as close to the center of gravity as possible. Alright, so that's not as bad. There could be stiction in the suspension. And it's still pretty far off though. And then let's just flip it around to see. Now it's still heavier in these two corners, no matter which way the vehicle is facing. Right? So the weight balance is perhaps, affecting the handling. I would have to assume it is. It's also 47%, light. It's a little bit heavier in the rear by 3%. So maybe the tires on the front aren't getting as much traction as they could, so the steering might be off. Okay, well, another thing I realized is, this, as I mentioned, this really high speed. So I was looking at the gears, and this one is for the drive shaft, when you extend the wheelbase. But all these other ones are for the drive shaft pinion. None of these apparently go on the motor, I don't think, because they're just plastic. But looking into this thing, this pinion is almost touching the base, so this must be the largest gear of this set. So I can't really slow the car down. If I actually put a smaller gear onto that drive shaft, it'll actually make the car faster. But I'm only using like 30 to 50% of the throttle as it is, so I'm like, it's really difficult to control the throttle of something like this when you can only use 50% of it. So I'd really like to actually slow the vehicle down, have more acceleration but less top speed. But unless I can actually find a smaller motor pinion, I can't do that. So that might have to come another day or never at all. Okay, so I also realized the shocks here have these little spacers. This suspension is quite stiff. Uh, the reason why I know that is just when I use my Drift Art 2, it's so soft compared to this. And another way to test is if you just lift it, the springs don't move at all. They don't budge, whether I lift it from the side. It's just super, super stiff, right? So, just take some needle nose pliers, pull these things off, and I'm quite sure it's going to help the suspension be a little more supple. And I think that would really help out as well as far as drifting, because it's not bouncing around the surface so much. Yeah, that makes a noticeable difference. Let's see here. I don't know if the spring is gonna... Well, I still think it's still a stiff suspension. The spring doesn't move at all. But it is noticeably... I can feel that it is less stiff, so... For now, this is the best I'm gonna get it. Okay, so that's an improvement, I guess. But, oh, look at this. The numbers are not as drastic. So now 40 versus 30, 40 versus 38. So the rear, let's flip it around and see. Yeah, the rear is almost balanced. That's close enough. The front is only a little bit off now. So it's still a rear weight bias, same percentage there. But also the side here, this side is a little bit heavier than this side. So that's interesting. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. If this side is heavier, that's why this is 40 and that's only 30. I can't explain the rear part of it, though, why those are even. So essentially, the easy fix would probably be to just glue on some sort of weight so it balances out, but I don't know. It takes a lot of weight. see, I put this giant nut on, and it's not evening out. If I literally put the weight over the tire, that's pretty darn close. But I don't know where to do that, right? So if I put the weight here on the bumper on this side, it's still a ways off. This bolt here, I mean this nut here. So it's going to take a lot of weight. So what I'm thinking is, can this thing move? I think it can. It's weird that this screw is silver while the other ones were black. Okay, yeah, look, there are two screws holding that in place. So I know if I slide it forward, at least it'll help with the front rear weight bias. Yeah, see, that's kind of silly. The slot is stopping it from going all the way left and right. It would have been smarter to just have a slot all the way through. Although, you know, I guess it affects the strength of it, of course. But, or maybe I can take this screw off and the thing will move over all the way. No, you see, the hole is still further than the slot opening. So that's kind of weird. That's unfortunate. Excuse me. It's almost like I have to drill another hole here, a tighter hole, so I can actually move this all the way forward. But for now, I think I'm just going to tighten this and just see where the weight balance is, because I might also want to shift it at an angle like that, so I can get more weight over this tire that I'm looking for, right? So I'll leave that kind of loose for now, and then I'll pop this back on here. You want to actually reverse install the screw first. So I'm actually going to go counterclockwise until I hear it click or feel it click into the thread. There, I guess it's right there, yep. So it's pretty easy to put in because it found the thread. If you just start doing clockwise turns, you might just, you know, strip the thread or basically double thread it, and then, you know, that's not good. Let's just see what's happening. Well, it only got 1% further. I'm wondering actually if I flip this whole thing around. Oh boy, I should have loosened it even more. So maybe I could actually flip the whole thing that way. The only problem is the cables probably won't reach if I do that. So that's a little bit better actually, right? The problem with that is this battery cable isn't long enough to go to that side. Okay, so that's a limitation that we just discovered. It's the cables themselves. So I think I am going to have to add weight after all. Well, it's not very pretty to look at, but what I did is I just unbolted this bumper thing, took out the piece of foam, and then I zip tied a bolt to it. And I think that's helped out. So let's go check the balance here. So 43.39, 36.40. Let me check the stiction there. 43. Let's check again here. So it seems like these two corners are the heavier one, right? Let's add the body though, that 15 grams. Okay, so it's really just a matter of me maybe moving this bolt around. And there, look at that. That's a lot better. I only unthreaded it like 3 turns. I think a stiction in the suspension seems to make a difference. I'm gonna tighten it, see what happens. See, the further away this weight goes, the lighter that corner becomes. So it can't actually go too far off from the center line. So 37.44. 3645. But now the back end is equaling as I get closer to the center. Well, it's better than it was before. It's not going to be perfect, I guess. I have a 52% up front. I might have to just try it the way it is. With the body here, still 52. We got 40 somethings, 40 somethings. Let's see how this works out.